Freaking guest Wi-Fi. I hate this.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. I know words, I have the best words.
He took a break from being disruptive to enjoy the company of her male companion. He briefly had a grasp on the situation before ushers returned.
Take a look at the oranges of the... Look, wait. They sacrifice every day for the furniture.
Some words that have been said about you, okay?
Nazi wine mom, Nazi cave woman.
I don't let name calling bother me or offend me.
This one's from someone across the pond, a daft wanker. That's British for stupid. Lives on a diet of glue sticks. A lower level life form.
Cephahide. He's a war hero because he was captured.
Welcome, everyone, to Left is Right, the weekly show where we talk a bunch of smack about, right-wing people because we're left-wing communists and want to invite everyone to the party. I'm your host, Steve, weekly, and my co-host is Dawn, weekly. And that's my sister, Dirty-Minded Pervs. So Don, this happened this week.
Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole... That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
Wow. No words. No words.
So the apologists... their take on it is that, well, he was talking about cars, and it'll be a bloodbath in the car industry if I'm not elected. See, that's
right.
But he speaks English. It is his first language, and he should know how to use words the right way. If he was talking about the auto industry and saying that the auto industry is going to have, bad things happen if he's not, he could have said that. He didn't say that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, the man should be, he's already inciting another riot. He should be shot in front of a firing squad.
Yeah, these
I'm
are what
inciting that. It'll be a bloodbath.
The language is a dog whistle, and it's it's actually a psychological. There's a psychological term for it, where he's conditioning people to accept violence.
He's gaslighting them.
And well, it's different than gaslighting, but he's conditioning people to accept violence and to expect it by the words that he uses. So same thing with calling immigrants vermin that are poisoning the blood of America. Same kind of thing there. And it just, I was listening to, I think I was watching something on Threads where it was, I think it was Jake Tapper on CNN was trying to explain what Trump meant by, when he said vermin. And it just never ceases to amaze me how much these people will tie themselves up into knots trying to explain, well, what he meant was, no, he meant what he said.
Right.
He said what he said. He used English. He speaks English. There's no translation even going. He said what he said. He meant it. Stop telling me he meant something else. Because he did
all these people that come at you with, well, what he meant was, listen, either he's too stupid to have command of the English language, in which case he's not fit to be president. Or he meant exactly what he said, in which case he's not fit to be president. You can't have both ways. He can't be a fucking bumbling idiot who doesn't know how to speak and expect to be president again.
But he is.
The things that you're saying, he should just be lined up and shot. 75-cent cure for this whole issue. And I know the NSA is now watching the show, so we'll at least have a couple more people watching.
The people who are his apologists just need to knock it off.
Yeah.
Because let his words go. They are what they said. He speaks freaking English. If he can't speak any better than that, like you said, he shouldn't be president. If he can't speak clearly and say what he means clearly, and you all have to interpret it for us with some other softer meaning than what he said,
right?
He's not qualified to be president. Because as president, one of his main duties is foreign relations, and he's going to have to deal with foreign powers, and he can't even speak appropriately.
We don't have to worry about that because Putin's got that covered for him. Putin's going to handle all that for him.
Oh, good. I feel so much better now.
And then a lot of them want to talk about, Biden. He stutters. He misses words, and they're like, "Oh, he's such a bumbling old dote who can't even speak." But then you'll come out for a half an hour and explain to us what he meant by, vermin and bloodbath, and I'm sick of the hypocrisy and trying to have it both ways. And when it comes right down to it, who do they think they're fooling? Because the people who are going to vote for him, the maybe 20% of the population that's going to vote for him, they're going to vote for him because he's saying that shit. The other people, you're not fooling. They know what he's saying, and they may or may not vote for him. I mean,
But what they do believe are the lies that they've been told, that Democrats are evil, that we want to bring in socialism, which is evil, and that we eat babies and
yeah, but the people who believe that are the same 20% that are going to vote for him anyway. That's what I'm saying. They're not convincing a new voter by doing that.
No.
So it's just shut up and let the man speak and disappoint as many people.
Listen to what he says and believe what he says, not what people have to explain to you. What he really meant was really not as bad as what he said.
Right.
That's when people have to explain what Biden said, it's because he mumbled.
Yeah.
Or he goofed up the words and he didn't say it right.
Right.
Which does happen with him.
Right.
Happens with me too, but
yeah. But I mean, that's happened to.
And having to put a pretty pink hat on something that somebody said because it's really obnoxious and scary, right. Which is what Trump does.
But I mean, if Biden's unfit to be president, then we should have never had 2 terms of Bush Jr. Well, that man could barely speak English.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I would feel much more comfortable with Bush with W back in the office more than Trump.
Yeah,
at least W is,
At least he had some. He at least had, belief in law and order and
yeah, and in institutions and in the government as well.
Right. I mean, he didn't want to be a dictator, but his vice president did. But he didn't want to be a dictator. So,
yeah.
Of course, I'm pretty sure that's because he couldn't spell it. But I digress. Oh, see, I can't be president now either. So this week, we were going to focus on a few more answers and not quite just rants and rant. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Can you clear that up for me? You're my right wing spokesperson. But before we do that, if anyone out there can explain to me exactly what this is, I'll wait for an explanation.
Government doesn't make the law. The people rise up, power rises up from the people, and the people make the law. And that law should be in accordance with God's word and the conscience. And these federal laws are restricting both of those things. And so when this authority, namely the federal government, commands what God has forbidden or has not required. Second, whenever it forbids what God commands or has not forbidden. Third, whenever it oversteps its constitutional jurisdiction. Or fourth, binds the conscience that God alone has jurisdiction. We, those who are their authority, we are the authority for the federal government in this situation. We are not to obey them whenever they take tyrannical action.
That right there is proof that Bible.com should be translated into modern English.
That was the convoluted word salad, for one thing.
Yeah, a little bit. And, either get a bigger computer monitor so you can read it better or something, because you didn't do so well reading that straight off your computer, homie. Just saying. We're convincing people, but
that's very scary that he's allowed to, he's got it all wrong. It is the government that creates the laws. That's how that works.
Basically, let me translate this from dumbass to actual English for you. What he's saying is if the government passes a law that we don't like, that we don't think the Bible says should not be law, you's okay and just going on and not obeying it because that's just tyrannical stuff and Jesus didn't want no how.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad I don't live in Oklahoma.
Yeah, no doubt.
But that's the kind of his speech there. That's the kind of thing that the MAGA crowd wants to have in our countries, is where the laws are whatever God said and whatever we say God said, and everything else is not real.
Right.
It's crazy because
right.
we have freedom of religion in this country. Not everybody is a Christian.
Yeah, but them other things, them ain't religion. Them's cult now. You ain't got the freedom of cult. You got the freedom of religion. Everybody knows the only true religion is the religion of Jesus Christ.
Well, okay, so then which brand? Are we talking Lutheran or are we talking Baptist?
No, Lutherans, them's too close to them goddamn Catholics. Them Catholics is a cult. They worship deities and shit,
You can't even do Christian nationalism because there are too many flavors of Christian. They would be arguing about what the rules are because they don't even use the same Bible. You can't even use the same Lord's Prayer because they all got different words.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, they're all just all the MAGA people they need to go around and take a census again. And anyone who is a MAGA believer and or follower, they need to be put in.
We count them as 0.5 of a person.
No, they just need to gather them up and put them in a study group behind barbed wire because for their own safety, because these people are easily influenced and are we need to protect them from being the victim of cults. So it would be the cults, something cult protection authority. Like I said, make me a democratic dictator and I'll fix it just like that. Put that for a vote, and if they say no, I'll do it anyway.
Because that's how you roll.
That's right.
Now, see, when we say it, we're joking, but when they say it, they mean it.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so, unfortunately. One more topic I wanted to bring up, and I know that this probably is annoying the heck out of you because you've studied and got all your stuff ready, but I'm not 100% sure I understand what the Democrats were doing, getting involved in the Iowa senatorial or the Republican primary in Ohio. They kind of primed the pump and put the crazy loon over the other just jag bag. So that, they're thinking that Sherrod Brown would have an easier time beating MAGA loon. But I don't know if they should have got involved in that as a Democrat.
Did they get involved in that?
Yeah, they financed ads for. They financed one of the Democratic think tanks financed a campaign ad for him over the other guy. And I don't know.
So you're talking about Bernie Moreno.
Yes.
He was the one that Trump backed.
Yep.
And Trump had a rally where the comments about the bloodbath, pardon me, came from was at a rally that Trump held for Bernie Moreno.
Yes.
So that happened. I actually last weekend I listened to the whole rally.
That means you are a good Democrat doing exactly what they've been asking us to do.
It was difficult, but I listened to the whole thing. But that was a rally for Bernie Moreno.
Hopefully you were reading during that time.
I wasn't aware that there were Democratic ads on that. But the Democratic Party, they do think that the crazier and the more wacko the candidate is, the better odds are that the Democratic candidate can win.
Because they think that it'll turn off the crazy
normal sane people. Yes.
Yes, and I mean I can agree with that, but I just don't know that the one time that backfires, I just don't know.
Yeah. Well, then you'll just have another Marjorie Taylor Greene. But historically, it has been true that the more crazy MAGA they are, the more likely they are to lose. But
MSNBC kept referring to the other guy as the moderate Republican or the the normal Republican. He wasn't a normal Republican either. He was MAGA light.
The presidential candidate who had a binder full of women. He just retired as a senator.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Straight hair and it's not Orrin Hatch. Shut up, brain. It's not Orrin Hatch. It is. He had binders full of women.
If Orrin Hatch had binders full of women, they were all in petticoats. What? Nothing? Come on, that was a good one.
No, that was too old. Dang it! Now it's bothering me. I'm going to have to figure out who that was.
But I'm liking where you were going. I just don't know. Huh?
Mitt Romney. They called the other guy, the other Republican, a Romney Republican.
Okay.
He was a normie. And then there was a third one, and between the two of them, I think they kind of split each other.
Yeah.
And then
the other guy, the third guy, was more of a Romney Republican than the other guy. The other guy was less MAGA, but he was just MAGA light.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
He was still MAGA. He just wasn't batshit, you know. He wasn't Jewish space lasers crazy. He was just a little crazy.
But I did hear an interview with Sherrod Brown that basically he kind of distanced himself from the Democratic push to back Moreno, apparently. He said that, you know, that's not his thinking. He just wants to, you know, win for the people of Ohio and yada, yada.
Right. And one thing I saw was the 2 times that he's been elected, he's won in 2 different ways with 2 different groups of constituencies. So he can, you know, he has a wide appeal. You know, so either way, whatever they threw at him, he was going to still be able to go with it. Is what they were saying. And yeah, and I don't think the Democrats need to be doing any more of that crap.
It made me really nervous when they did it in 22.
Yeah.
It felt like you know, it felt like, ooh, that's going to be bad juju at some point.
Yeah, I agree.
Then the other thing, speaking of Ohio, that threw me was that I saw something passed my eyeballs. I don't know where it was. I don't know where it was or what I was looking at, but it passed my eyeballs. That Dennis Kucinich is a campaign person for RFK Jr.
Really?
Yeah. I was shocked. Yeah, he hired Dennis Kucinich to help run his campaign. And I was shocked because Dennis Kucinich was, you know, quite normal. I thought.
Well, I mean, the one thing that the RFK Jr. thing is, other than the conspiracy theories, he is as close to full on Communist Party member than anyone. But he does have some conspiracy theory problems.
Yeah. Mainly with vaccines, but also some other things too. I can't remember what they were, but also there's just the whole, why are you trying to split votes, taking votes away from Biden so that Trump can be elected? What's that?
Yeah. That's troubling.
Right? And then they're talking about the No Labels Party. They still haven't decided if they're going to come out with a candidate yet. They might. And that's really going to suck up the middle of the road people. And slice the Biden vote up 4 different ways. And the only thing that's going to result from that is Trump presidency.
Yeah.
And the last time we get to vote.
Exactly. Well, I mean, give Democrats enough rope, they'll hang themselves. I mean, that's just the way it works. I don't even know why there's a Republican Party. Just give the Democrats all the power and they'll ruin it. They'll never get anything done because they,
I think
idiots.
That at least for the No Labels candidate, there's probably somebody with enough money to buy them off to have them stand down.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Because they're going to realize that if they split the vote, then Trump's just going to be president. They're not going to win.
And if they were going to put a candidate in, now that Biden and Trump are the presumptives, now would be the time to have him come out, so that if you're going to get any traction, you can get some.
Yeah.
You don't wait till last minute on something like that.
Mm-mm.
So, I think if they were
why
going
they're
to do it,
talking about it, if you're going to decide, you need to decide now.
right. Well, right, exactly. Yeah, and that's what that's why I'm thinking that if they were going to do it, they'd have done it already.
And maybe they're just fishing for some kind of concession.
Probably.
Probably. So, because Biden is one. He is one who will make deals like that.
No, absolutely.
That's why Kamala Harris is vice president. She was the first to cave.
Yeah.
And he said, "Okay, you'll be vice president." And then
Yeah.
Buttigieg caved, and then he became transportation secretary. Yeah.
Right.
So he's all about making those deals.
Mm-hmm.
Bernie's not president because he didn't think of making those deals first.
Right. I don't know. It's a mess. It's a mess, but it's in the weeds right now, but it'll get straightened out a little bit. Now, did you want to go on your topic of what with some fixes, or because I have one last topic to discuss.
Go for your last topic.
My last topic, I will reveal my last topic right after this commercial break.
We're looking for a few heroes, mentors, trailblazers, innovators, a passion to change lives, spark curiosity, open hearts, and awaken minds, help students answer the question, who am I? This could be your calling, but this is no job. It's the journey of a lifetime. Be a hero. Be a teacher.
Jason, let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner! Go.
Excellent. Yeah, I saw you guys out there.
Every body in a work zone is someone's somebody.
This is my mom. She works for KDOT.
This is my dad.
This is my mom.
This is my daddy.
This is my sister.
This is my daddy.
This is my son, Scott. He was killed while working in a highway work zone. When you drive through a work zone, drive like a life depends on it. Because it does.
Operator 901, where's the emergency?
127 Brymere.
Okay, what's going on there?
I'd like to order a pizza for delivery.
Ma'am, you've reached 911. This is an emergency line.
Large with half pepperoni, half mushroom.
You know you've called 911. This is an emergency line.
Do you know how long it'll be?
Okay, ma'am, is everything okay over there? Do you have an emergency or not?
Yes.
And you're unable to talk because...
Right.
Is there someone in the room with you? Just say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like I have an officer about a mile from your location. Are there any weapons in your house?
No.
Can you stay on the phone with me?
No. See you soon. Thank you.
And welcome back to the show. It seems that we have a viewer who said something. Good evening, Deborah. I can't quite read your Wakla. Deborah Wakla, how are you? Good evening. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. Okay, the topic that I wanted to cover. How do we go about getting Clarence Thomas kicked to the curb?
The only way to get him kicked to the curb is to get him impeached. Okay. He would have to be impeached, and that would be done the same way as with other impeachments. So the House could start a committee that would be an impeachment committee, just like they're doing with Biden right now, and they did with Trump before.
Actually, the Biden impeachment committee gave up.
They gave up?
Yeah. They were unable to find any evidence to impeachable evidence.
After today's hearings?
Well, no, but several members of the committee have come out to say that there's no impeachable evidence. So,
they're
going to keep doing it.
They're still doing it.
Yeah, they're still doing it.
What's your point? They're still doing it. And they had Lev Parnas and Tony Bobulinski testifying today. And Steve Bannon actually was losing his mind about it because those guys actually testified that there was Russian collusion and that Bill Barr covered it up, and that some of the congressmen who were even sitting in that hearing had helped cover it up. So Steve Bannon was losing his mind on his show how much the Republicans suck because they couldn't stop that from happening, which was absolutely wonderful.
That's why they call him Tony Baba Booey.
But anyway, they'd have hearings about Thomas and whether what he had done admitted to high crimes or misdemeanors. And if so, then file articles of impeachment and try to get him convicted in the Senate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, his billionaire buddies must be paying him pretty good because, what was it, $1 million a year for the rest of his life? He's passing it up.
Yeah, the John Oliver money. Yeah, $1 million a year.
Whew.
Passing that up. Must be getting more.
Must be.
Yes. Apparently, I just heard on the Tom Hartman show today that there's a new case coming before the Supreme Court that is going to make Citizens United look like a children's hour. It's basically going to legalize bribing and making the current bribing that's going on, look like nothing. I don't have any more details. That's all. I just heard him talking about that. So there's another case coming up that's going to even more legalize bribing representatives and judges. So,
well, I mean,
going the wrong way.
Yeah, more than a little bit.
Yeah. But only, as I understand it, only one Supreme Court justice was ever talked about being impeached, and he quit. He resigned before he got impeached.
Right. And then the other time, I forget who it was, FDR threatened to increase the number of judges to a point where the guys that were fighting him would be outvoted.
Yeah, that was the pack the court plan.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of a lot of push for, there's 15 circuits and there's only 9 judges. And originally they had 9 judges because there was 9 circuits.
Right.
So they should have 15 justices.
I agree. And I should be one of them. You don't have to be a law school graduate to be a Supreme Court justice.
Okay, I was wrong. The House of Representatives has actually impeached 15 federal judges since 1803. Now, that's not Supreme Court justices. That's all federal judges.
Gotcha.
And 8 of those were followed by convictions in the Senate.
Cool.
There was one Supreme Court justice who was impeached, Samuel Chase, in 1804. But he was acquitted by the Senate in 1805.
Oh.
And I thought he resigned his position before. If I remember right, he resigned his position, and that's why he didn't get impeached.
He Nixoned it. He Nixoned it. He took the Nixon loophole.
Yeah. Which, that just leads me back to the whole presidential immunity thing. Everybody knows there's no presidential immunity. That's why Nixon resigned. That's why Ford pardoned Nixon.
I mean, the Supreme Court, they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't, because if they give the presidential immunity thing, okay, Trump's off the hook. But on the other hand,
so is Biden.
On the other hand, 5 of them are going to be dead within a month because Biden just gave the order. Take them out. 86 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I got immunity. Kill them off.
Doing it for the good of the country.
That's right. Absolutely.
And he would have immunity.
Absolutely. There'd be nothing anybody could do about it.
Right.
And oh, by the way, this election that's coming up, it's canceled. Not happening. Sorry.
Right.
Because of the political climate and the fear of life and limb for people voting, we're going to go ahead and cancel this election. We'll give it a shot 4 more years. Or maybe, if Kamala wants to, give it a shot 4 more years, she can. But, but for now, it's not going to happen. That's what they're doing. That's what they're giving Biden the power to do.
Right. And
so they're not going to do it. It's just delay.
That does not seem to compute. Yeah, and the delay is starting to wear me down. I'm beginning to think he's not ever going to face any consequences.
Yeah. Well, except for in Georgia. He'll face consequences in Georgia.
But he appealed in Georgia.
Yeah.
He appealed Judge, is it Schaefer? His ruling from last week that Fani Willis could remain on the case.
Mm-hmm.
Trump appealed that today. No.
If I was her, I would just get somebody I trust caught up to speed, and maybe somebody who's a little more bloodthirsty, and say, "Okay, I resign. They're going to take it over."
People have been calling for that, and that would be something to do. I think that for her, it's more, I'm not going to let them do this to me. I think that's where she's at, rather than the good of the country, which we wish is where she was at.
Yeah.
But I think that she's like, they're not going to push me around and get me to do something I don't want to do. That's where she's at.
Yeah, but couple of dark money donors can change her mind.
Yeah. Suck it up, babe. Take one for the team.
Yep. Here's enough money to retire on and go buy yourself an island somewhere and enjoy life.
So we have a question from our audience.
Oh,
did you do that?
Let's take a look. Here we go. What are your thoughts on Trump not having that bond money? Good question, Deborah Werkler. Deborah Werkler. Good question, dear. Or,
ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yeah, that's very interesting for a billionaire, isn't it?
Yep.
I think it's great, because what that means is if he doesn't post the bond by, I think it's Monday, or is it Friday? Friday or Monday, then Letitia James can start attaching his assets.
Yep.
So I hope that happens, because at least that's some consequence somewhere for something. I think it's interesting that he can't find an insurance company that will bond him. Did you see the Jimmy Kimmel Jimmy Kimmel Open last night?
No.
On he did an open where he went through the different insurance companies with their jingles and amended it to say, you know, no way, Jose, but with their company jingles.
Nice.
It was glorious. But it's really interesting that he can't find an insurance company to bond him. And that must mean that he has absolutely no liquidity whatsoever. If he had, he's got real estate, so that real estate must be leveraged to the hilt already.
Oh yeah.
So he has no equity in it. Because that's got to be the only reason that he can't use it to get a bond.
Yeah.
You can't put up the deed on something that's already leveraged.
Yep.
That's got to be what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I also think it's interesting that his children don't give him the money.
Yeah.
because they got tons of money when they were in office.
Why aren't the Kushners playing for it? I mean, they only got like $2 billion extra sitting around,
right,
from the Saudis.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I was seeing it. They were talking, and he had complained that he just can't come up with his bond. To come up with his bond, he would have to start liquidating assets
at a fire sale, and that's not fair.
It's like, motherfucker, you're going to liquidate some assets. That's the whole point.
and you don't have to liquidate the asset if you put it up on the bond. You don't have to sell it. Right. You just you.
No, he knows that. He knows that. He knows he's going to lose.
Yeah.
Even in the appeal, he knows he'll lose, so he's going to lose it anyway if he puts it up for the bond.
Yeah.
So, he just figured out another way to delay it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know how he gets around it, because
he's gonna hire a bunch of Cuban immigrants to go down there and pick up Mar-a-Lago and hide it somewhere. And he's gonna pay some guy $30 to scrub the security tapes. He's gonna find some place to hide it.
Yeah. I don't think that he will be able to hide that. Although another former employee came out and said something about they knew that Trump was hiding documents or something. I didn't really even look at it too closely, since Eileen Cannon is going to dismiss that case. She's going to let him skip.
Yeah, she's going to.
I don't even want to know.
No. She's going to dismiss. She's going to lose. She's basically going to get probably taken off taken off.
I don't know if he can ask her to be removed. I think that there have to be a really high bar for that, because she's made substantive rulings at this point. Which
no. What I'm saying is she's going to screw this up, and she's not going to be a judge anymore, because she's going to get messed up on appeal. Because they'll be able to appeal this, and she's going to look like shit. She's going to have to resign.
Mm-hmm.
So, she's shooting her career in the ass for Trump. Hope you enjoyed your judgeship that he gave you, because you just ruined it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You've opened every decision you've ever made, on anything up to appeal, to be appealed. Your judgment can now be taken into question.
I definitely think that, well, especially with this last ruling, I don't think I think that she's getting help from somewhere. She did not do it herself, because she is too new and inexperienced to know that what she did was the way to do it. What she did was she did not dismiss the case when Trump did a motion to dismiss based on, he had argued that the Presidential Records Act was too vague, which is crazy because it's been adjudicated a million times and it's very not vague at all. And she said, well, I'm not going to grant your motion to dismiss right now, but I'm not sure that it might not be too vague. So I'm going to hold my judgment in abeyance until later. So that sets the way for them to seat a jury, at which point double jeopardy attaches, so that she can then dismiss it and he can't be recharged.
Yeah, she won't be a judge much longer after that.
But I really don't think that she's smart enough to figure that out on her own. I think she had help.
Yeah.
I think somebody told her to do that. Just my guess.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming with all the eyes on that's being looked at and that information is being got as to whether she had help or not. But
I'm getting really cynical about stuff, so I don't know.
Not that it'll mean anything, but yeah.
Hmm.
All right, let's go on to some answers.
Yes.
Some answers.
Everybody's got problems.
We were going to discuss answers, and in the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes of the show, the show that we dedicated to answers. Let's give all the answers we can in 10 minutes, Don.
Oh, that was the dedication? You didn't plan that very good. So the biggest answer, what did we say? The biggest answer is Citizens United.
Finance or
publicly funded elections.
Election reform.
You need to overturn Citizens United, and the legislature can do that by passing a law. Because money is not speech, and it's un-American to say money is speech, because if you say that, what that means is he who has the most money has the most speech. And that's never been the way that it's been in this country. It's everybody's entitled to their opinion. Everybody's entitled to speak. But the way that we have it now with Citizens United, if you have more money than somebody, you can drown out their speech.
Right.
So that is definitely un-American and needs to be undone. And that is at the root of most of our problems, because dark money and PACs are behind the scenes electing people, and so much money is being thrown into that. And they talk about how elected officials have to spend all their time trying to get reelected because they've got to raise so much money, which I find crazy, because there isn't that much I mean, they don't have to advertise in so many places. I mean, for presidential elections, they've only got to advertise in 6 states now. They don't even need to advertise anywhere else.
And
they're down to 6 states.
Right. And one TV commercial, I mean, who's, like you were saying, who's making fucking, banners and shit anymore?
Right. They don't do printed materials. They don't do mailers.
Right.
All the expensive stuff they don't do anymore. They do social media, which is what? Free. Right. They do videos on social media. It's free. They got Facebook pages. They got stuff. All that stuff's free.
So why do they need billions of dollars?
Exactly. Because of Citizens United. Because, I think that money is going to pay people. It's going to make payoffs and stuff, I guess. But I really don't understand how you need that much money because, people don't do newspaper advertising anymore. Nobody reads the newspaper. So just those old methods of campaigning that cost so much, they're obsolete. So why do you need all that money? You shouldn't.
Right.
You shouldn't need all that money. And if we eliminated dark money and that money from being available, and we made it publicly funded elections.
But aren't campaigns supposed to give an accounting of every penny?
Except for that's just it. Citizens United and the other case made it so that you could have dark money, so that there could be PACs and super PACs that can get around the election laws that don't have to report the money, how much money was donated to who.
Well,
they don't have to report that anymore.
Well, no, but they'd still have to report what they spent.
The campaign has to report what they spent. Yes.
Right.
But super PACs do not.
And the campaigns don't have to say where the money came from.
Right. But if you added publicly funded elections where each office gets this much, each person running for this office gets this much money, and they are not allowed to spend a penny more, that would eliminate all of that stuff. It would eliminate all that stuff. And we could go back to relying on debates and information.
Yeah.
I would think that would naturally follow when you can't pay people off and do whatever they're doing with the money that they're doing. That's the biggest fix. And anybody who thinks that we need to do term limits, if you don't fix that first, your term limits are going to be a term limit law would totally mess things up.
Even worse than it is now.
Yes, because if you term limited the representatives, the people who would be in charge in Washington, not that they're not already, but this would just make it even worse, would be the lobbyists. They would be the ones who would be entrenched there. They would be the ones who know how to get a bill passed and how it works. And they would be the only ones who would know that. Right now, at least the legislators know how to do that too, because they've been there forever and ever. They know that they can do a petition of discharge to get a bill up before the House of Representatives when the Speaker of the House won't put it up.
Right.
You can do a discharge petition.
Yeah, and I'm a little disappointed in the Democrats' lack of backbone when it comes to that particular aspect. They've allowed the speakers to bury too many things.
Well, when in general, the Speaker of the House is the one who's in charge of all that.
Yeah, but if you do a petition to discharge,
But it's not easy to do a discharge petition.
Yeah, but they haven't even tried.
But it's not something that you could do on the regular.
Yeah. Why not?
Well, let me check it out. Okay, so there has to be a billing committee first, and it brings the bill to the floor for consideration without a report from the committee. You have to have an absolute majority of House members to do that. So basically, what that means is they. So right now, what is the bill that they're wanting to do that with? The immigration bill?
Yeah. Yes.
The immigration bill is in committee. They can do a discharge petition to discharge the committee because the bill is not coming out of committee because that committee is not doing a report and sending it on. So they would do a discharge petition to get it out of that committee. But in order to get that discharge petition, they have to have a majority on that petition. And the Democrats are in the minority. So they would have to convince at least a few Republicans to join them to do that discharge petition. That's the crux of the problem. So they're not going to be able to do it on everything or most things, because on most things the Republicans are in lockstep.
Right. Although the whole border situation thing is starting to bite them in the ass a little bit, because nobody's buying the whole "this is Biden's problem" crap.
And yeah, how did they do that? By going, okay, we'll make the border our problem too. That was a strategy of brilliance, because the only thing that the Trump crowd had was Biden's age, the border crisis, and crime, right? And the economy. Those are the things that they're going to win on, those topics. So they took the border crisis away from them by Biden going down and saying, okay, this is a problem. We're going to address the problem and go into the border and making it an issue, and basically took the wind out of their sails on that issue. So now they work out the crime in the economy, because actually the numbers favor Biden, but people don't know the numbers, or they don't believe the numbers.
Right. Right. And but the border thing, and I've even seen that even not necessarily MAGA people, but Republican, general Republicans are aware that their party is the one messing that up.
Yeah, it became, when they pulled what they pulled, which is they had a long-term bipartisan negotiation to come up with the bill, and the Senate passed the bill, and then they handed it to the House, and the House went, nope, we're not going to do that, because Trump told us not to, because he wants to have that as an election priority.
And they said that was their words.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, saying the quiet part out loud. So yeah. So that was a good one. And I'm sorry, keeping me up. And that, took the wind from their sails and took that topic away from them. Now they got to take the crime topic and the economy topic away from them.
And the Democrats are chipping into that, because they're hitting hard they're taking Reagan's words and using it against the Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
Are you better off 4 years ago than you are now?
Yep.
4 years ago, there was millions of people dying a month. Nobody was working. It's like,
yeah.
How can you not be better off now?
Right. And as well as, the markets being at all-time highs, that helps. So, and now if people will just realize that inflation is back down to normal levels, if they will get that through their brain, the prices are so high, but the inflation is back down to normal levels. Yes,
right,
the prices were high, but now they're back. Inflation is normal.
The prices haven't come down. That's the trick they got to figure out, is how to get a little deflation going.
Well, yeah, but that's not good either. But it's.
No, but
they have been doing things like trickflation and sending out like social media posts and that about trickflation and greedflation. Have you seen any of those?
Well, yeah, because I've seen several of them, and it's because it's an obvious truth. 40% of the inflation problem we had was just corporate greed.
Yeah.
And how people can't see that, because the newscasts would tell you in the exact same time that inflation, the rate of inflation is up, bazillions of dollars. But, oh, by the way,
also,
these three corporations are posting record profits.
Yeah.
Record profits don't happen during inflation.
Record profits.
Right. You can't have record profits and inflation. You can't. It doesn't work that way. Inflation has to do with the cost of producing goods.
Yeah. And if you got record profits, you upped your price more than your costs went up.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly. They're saying, I saw something where because of the pandemic, the legitimate inflation should have been up another. It should have only gone up 2% of what the normal is to help cover the pandemic.
Yeah.
And not the 20% or whatever it went up.
More like 9 or something like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, but 2% uptick is what should have happened. Economists should have happened because of the pandemic.
If you discount corporate greed.
Right. Okay. The rest of the 9% increase, 100% corporate greed. And why? And why? Because they can get away with it.
Yeah, because they can. Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. You know when they couldn't get away with that? The 50s, 60s, and 70s when shit was regulated.
Right. Right.
Back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s when unions were strong and everybody had a job, or if you wanted one, you go get one, that you could have a career. Well, that's because of fucking regulation.
Only one salary was needed to send your kids to college and take a vacation.
Right. That was because of regulation.
Yeah.
That wasn't because of, people were just nicer.
They were nicer because they were happier because they were better taken care of.
Yeah, but the rich pricks didn't have a choice. You didn't get all that crap out of the goodness of their heart. They didn't have a choice. And that's what it's got to get back to.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I don't want to get back to the I don't want to get back to the times when the Constitution was written. I want to get back to the 50s, 60s, and 70s, not because I'm a racist, because that's when shit was working. Well, on that positive note, wasn't a bad show. I think we're getting the hang of it. I hope that that
easy for you to say.
Yeah, I'm sorry that our commenter, Miss or Mrs. Wareckley, enjoyed the show, and we need to get on our other two interns to start getting some stuff going out
to do their job.
Everybody to wear.
Do their job.
That's right. So we're gonna have to talk to them interns. Okay, well, until next week, I'm Steve. She's Dawn. Oh, wait, I screwed it up. She's Dawn. And I hope you enjoyed the show.
I needed money cause I had none. I fought the law and the law won.
I just wanted to say, welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace it with this right here. We'll replace it with this right here.
Amen.
That's right, because all glory is not to government, all glory to God.
Until I got indicted, I never talked this way about him. You probably know. Until I got, who is this? Is he a friend? You can get him out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Go ahead, you can throw him out.
I needed money.